two kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now, joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
Was poppin'. Welcome to Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to the YouTube Livey. Yes, I said YouTube because I'm not having technical difficulty. I can't even say it. That's my first difficulty.
It's a wrap.
We're not having no more tech issues anymore. Okay, 2 was enough for me. And I adapt very easily. So we're back on YouTube only. So welcome, right? I didn't actually tell Moose that, but whatever.
Hey, that part of it does not impact anything in which I do. So it's all good. Welcome back to the YouTube fam. We love you. Let's stay here and make memories and grow together. Let's go.
Yeah, we should have never tried to just expand like that. That was so rude of us. That was so rude. Anyway, so look, first and foremost, shout out to everybody who's watching this live. Shout out to everybody who's watching this replay. We totally appreciate it. Episode 61 came out today, right? What is this? November 30th. All right. So go check that out if you haven't already. We talked about Bitcoin. No, we didn't talk about it. We talked about Coinbase, or as Moose like to say it, Coin Boing, right?
Coin Boing.
We talked about Odell. We talked about Mr. Beast. We talked about Black Friday. We talked about a lot of stuff. So go check that out first and foremost. Moose, how are we feeling?
Man, pretty good. It's getting very, very busy. But I'm okay with that. I'm actually super excited. You always remember like this time last year, we actually were slowing, like things were slowing up and I was getting very uncomfortable.
Yeah, you didn't like it.
And it was the beginning of a very bad downward spiral for me. So I think this year I'm going into it with some really good momentum. So I feel really good. Things are busy. Things are on the up and up. A lot of things are happening. And I always prefer for chaos than absolute like nothingness, because I'm like, ooh, this this is not normal. So no, man, things are great, super busy, but overall very, very happy. I think you made a pretty big announcement today, didn't you?
I did. So and it's the weirdest, and this is look how everything works, right? The one platform that I'm not really on too much, right? That I said that I was going to be a little bit more intentional this year, but still not so much.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Clearly, 2022. Hello, I'm there on a 10-week basis. But for those who don't know or who haven't seen the post that I did, so LinkedIn had this Creator Accelerator program that you had to apply for. And it's a 10-week incubator where they literally give you money, a $15,000 grant to be exact, to create content for their platform. Only 100 creators got accepted, and I just happened to be one.
Come on, bruh.
This happened.
Yeah, major.
Yeah.
Hey, and I'm willing to bet they picked you not because of the work that you were doing on LinkedIn, but the work that you were doing off of LinkedIn. You feel me? They're like, actually, we need that over here. So, nah, congrats, man. Earned and deserved for sure.
Yeah,
Earned and deserved.
But this is the weird. So I announced it because now I got to get people to go into my LinkedIn, right? Which has not really been active, but I announced it just to do that, right? But the craziness is the response from people. Like how many people, like if anybody ever doubts, like, people don't really want to hear your wins. You know what I mean? Like it'll seem more like bragging, this, that, and the third. No, there are people who are legit like, well-deserved. yo, oh my God, this is great.
Absolutely.
And it encourages them to be like, yo, let me get active on LinkedIn. Let me go do that myself, because if you about to be there, oh, it's about to be on and popping. Like,
No,
so
absolutely.
like, and that was even for me, because I'm still, though, shout out to those people who actually rock with the horoscopes and everything. Like, I'm a Leo. We have no problem bragging, right? I don't necessarily like bragging, right? I don't like doing that so much, because it's just
Yeah.
the little humbleness that I have, right? Cocky but humble at the same time. It's the weirdest thing. But to do that, right? It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. To do that and to get the responses like, yo, they don't receive that as bragging. So don't ever feel like you are. Don't ever feel like you got to hide some of your accomplishments. Because even I was going to not post it today. Like, today was the official day that was it released and everything. I wasn't going to do it today. I was going to do it like on a weekend or something. Like,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
no one is
Yeah.
really paying attention. But
No one is watching.
yeah. So it is. And I see everybody saying congrats. I see y'all in the chat. I appreciate y'all. I mean, here, look, shout out to you. Oh, why is Carl? Hold on. Let's bring in Carl, because he wants to be. Hello, Carl. How are
I just
you?
told him.
Oh, wait, what's today?
Yeah. What is today, Carl?
I just
my
told
bad.
you that,
I don't know
Carl.
what day it
I,
is.
Yeah, we're live. Say hi to the
I
people.
know. You know what? Because I called Moose, and Moose sent me the voicemail as a true air traffic controller.
Yeah.
What's happening, everybody? I'm sorry for the interruption. I just got my days all confused.
Yeah. You sound stressed. You want to talk about it?
No, I'm not stressed. I'm just calling you back because you called me probably, I don't know, like 20 hours ago, but I'm just getting my head out of work.
I don't know if I called you. I definitely text you, but it's the love though. It's the love that I really appreciate.
Hey, so watch this. I just wanted it to be on the record to say that I called you back the same day because I've made that mistake before, and I got lit up the next day. I went a whole day and I ain't talked to you. What were you doing? I'm like,
Oh yeah, no. For the people on live, Carl is not allowed to go a day without talking to me unless it's the weekend. If it's a Monday through Friday, he has to talk to me every day. This is mandatory friendship. This is mandatory friendship.
Mandatory. Man.
Hey, did I sign that contract or was that for
You didn't know that? You didn't know that? It was like one of the things that
contract.
yeah, I'm sorry. There's a lot of things you signed that you probably don't remember. That was one of them. Just like
It was in
you
the
know.
fine print, Carl.
Do me a
It was in the
favor.
fine print.
Keep listening to Nicky and Moose. Keep listening.
I'll hit you later.
All right, later.
All right. Hey.
Yeah, that's funny. I just told him. I was like, he called me and I sent him a voicemail because it almost interrupted my headphones.
Yeah.
And then I texted him. I said, we're on the live. You know?
Oh,
So I guess he just
so
totally missed
maybe
that.
he didn't think we, as in me and you. Maybe he thought you and E or something. Like maybe he didn't.
Interesting.
Poor baby.
Yeah.
Poor baby.
Anyway.
That's
Yeah,
when
good
you.
stuff.
Oh Lord,
stuff.
Isaiah's like, we got daddy issues. Stop it, Isaiah. Stop it.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
Oh, man. No, but hey, let me say this before we kick off though, man,
Go
because you know, I don't like to. I'm not much of a commentator, or like I don't comment much.
Okay.
But obviously, man, I'd like to say it more publicly. Yeah, put me on the big screen. I thought you were.
I was already there. I was here for it. I was like, oh, I think we're getting a transparent moment. I don't know what's happening, but we are here.
Yeah, we're here for the breaking news. No, man, just wanted to say, super proud of you. Seriously, like you're literally. I used to say one of the, but I'm gonna remove one of the, and I'm gonna say you are the hardest working person that I know. You know what I'm saying? Like someone who is super dedicated to this craft. Yeah. No, for real. You're someone who's super dedicated to this craft. On good days, on bad days, on emotional days, on like every type of day, you're always dedicated to it. So yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm on the big screen saying, yo, we're super proud of you. Like seriously, this is something that you definitely deserved. And for those of you watching, please know that this didn't happen overnight. This has been in the work for a long time. I'm not talking about the application or the selection process. I'm talking about, her actually just grinding it away and figuring it out and making stuff happen. And what you're seeing now is just the results of all of the lives and all the people that she's taking care of. So yeah, man, just wanted to say congrats to you. Very much deserved. And I'm excited to see what else comes up, because this is only the beginning. So yeah,
Oh,
come on
look,
now.
listen, this is a real life situation, right? Now that I know, like, that is possible.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
What?
Hey, and for those of you that are about to reach out, you got to come at 15 or better. I'm sorry. Come at 15. If you're about to reach out,
Moose is the official agent.
Out,
it is done. It is done. Moose is the official agent, manager.
You remember before when we talked, I was like, oh, you got to give him that. Give him a high five. And that's what, so, hey, well, the 5 then turned into 15. So
yeah, I remember. Yeah, no, 15, this is, yeah, it's yesterday's price is not today's price. You know what I mean? Yesterday's price is not today's price. I promise you, it is. Oof. But yeah, but we're here, right? Hold on, actually, somebody. Yesterday's price is not today's price. But it's crazy. So, real quick, like, and it's not doing anything different than what I've been doing. And I just really hope people get that. It's like, it's not different. Like, when you focus on one thing, right? When you focus on a certain platform and a certain piece of content over and over again, you may be thinking it's repetitive, but it's like, consistency is rare. Like, consistency is so rare, and people really admire that, and people really need that on their platforms, in their brands, and things like that. Like, it's just so rare, and you'll get signs that, like, yo, it's working. Like, this is working. Even with this podcast, like, we're getting on random charts. You know what I mean? I send Moose today. Yeah. Like, we're on, like, number 6 of, like, marketing or something like that. I don't know, Moose, if you could pull that up. Like, we're, like, on, like, marketing, business, entrepreneurship. And I'm like, oh, this is working. That's a sign. So now it's just a matter of staying that course, maybe boosting it up a little bit, right? But I mean, and we're still on the lookout for those people who speak Spanish, a male and a female who speak Spanish. Oh, that's right. You know what? Come to Nicky and Moose real quick, and we have a job for you. We have a job for you. Absolutely. We got some episodes for you to dub real quick. It's going to be dope. We're going to get a whole Spanish audience that we need to cater to, because my half Puerto Rican self don't speak Spanish.
Yeah. No, for sure. That would be a great way. Yeah, for real. Holla at us, man. We're taking all inquiries as it relates to the Espanol translation. We ready for it.
Yes.
So let's get it. Let's get it. Now, I'm excited to dive into today, though. I kind of sent this topic pretty early to you. At least somewhat earlier than the usual, just because I was on a call a few weeks back, and I said something that kind of brought about some turmoil. It brought about a little controversy. But I have been thinking about it for a while, and I had said it more so like on one-on-ones or in small group settings, never to a large group. So people were like absolutely shocked that that's what I said. And I'm like, well, I have to say it, right? And basically what I said is, I'm not a fan of accountability. I think accountability is actually bad for you. So people absolutely lost it, right? They were like, what do you mean? Like, nah, accountability is important, and you don't understand. And really what I was trying to explain to them, Nicks, is that, yo, if you use accountability in the wrong way, you establish a crutch. You start to live with a crutch. That the minute that quote unquote accountability partner is no longer there, you fall back to your old ways. So you didn't create new habits. You didn't become a better person. You were just leaning on someone to carry your dead weight so that you didn't fall victim to, right, the outcomes that you would normally produce operating in your natural self. So my take on it, and this is what I want us to break down today, is it's probably more important to be involved in a community than it is to accountability. And if you are going to use accountability, there's a specific way to use it that no matter what happens, you're only getting better, never falling backward whenever the circumstance or the environment changes. So I want to talk about it, of course, from personal side, like we always do in the beginning, and then switch over from a branding and business side, and maybe even tap into how can people build communities and things of that nature, like some of the do's and don'ts around that, because we actually have some experience with some bad examples and some decent examples. I want to bring your memory back to a few years ago when we first started EE. So yeah, be prepared to talk about that, like in terms of the don'ts with a community. So yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, you know, you gotta.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to take you back.
Because I have no problem talking about anything. And then here it moves. No, you gotta say this. Oh, okay.
Right. No, I'm gonna take you back. But just talk to us, man. Overall, your stance on accountability, and how do you use it, for your own success. I think that'll be a good way to show people how high performers or how high level people are using this concept of accountability first in the right way. Because I think a lot of people make a lot of mistakes using accountability in a way that it's not designed to be created or used.
So here's the problem with me, and let me be transparent. So I've got like traumatized, not traumatized. Traumatized is a little too deep, right?
It's a deep word.
It is a deep word. What is one that's below traumatized? Scorn? No, that still sounds. Okay, there we go. All right, yeah. Impacted. There we go.
Yeah.
Impacted when it comes to this whole accountability thing, right? And I could be transparent, right? And he knows that I always say he left me, and so it's all good, right? So, like I said earlier, I don't speak Spanish. Hello. I'm Black and Puerto Rican, one of the proudest Puerto Ricans out there, and I can't speak a lick of Spanish. Yes, sad, right? So here comes this amazing person. I'm not going to name their name, but you could pretty much figure it out. Who's like, Nicky, let's go. Let's.
Yo, come on.
Hey, it's my story. It's my story. Okay, all right,
my bad,
it's my story, and it's not business.
I was saying, like that's what was said. I'm not saying don't say it. I'm just saying that's probably what's said. Hey, come on. So yeah.
So let's do this app together, right? Let's get this app. Let's pay for it. Let's do this together every single day. Cool. Let's do it, right? Boom. I'm feeling that I'm getting a bit stronger because I'm doing this every single day. I'm watching videos, I'm breaking it down, whoop-de-woo, feeling great. And then all of a sudden, I think this was going on for like 6 months. It was strong for a bit.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, no. It was going for a bit, right? So I'm like, I'm feeling confident, this, that, and the third. And then it stopped. And I'm like, what?
Did you get a warning?
No warning, no nothing, just done, over, right? Boom. And then, whether it was an event, a podcast, or whatever, that normal transparency comes out, right? I was doing this app, but I really felt like it wasn't helping me. Like I could only learn so much from the app, right? Whoop-de-woo. I'm like, you're not going to, so what about me? Hello, what about me, right? And now, Nicky, I got so-and-so helping me out all the time. Okay, high five. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I don't know, right? So now...
Yeah, that's hilarious. High five.
Great, right? So then it's like, yo, Nicky, when you're serious, right? Let me know. Person, right? Ben, what are you talking about? You left me, right? And so anytime this particular person says anything in Spanish, right? Like, it's time, Nicky. Yeah, no, but you left me. I will always do it, but you left me. It's cool, right? It's all right. You left me. Cool. So from that standpoint, from a personal, because I've realized, and maybe this is my low-key, high-key introvert self and the way that I rock with technology, I allow apps to really hold me accountable. Hence why I have over like 100 and some notifications, right? I allow apps to hold me accountable. I allow like my routine to hold me accountable because of the disappointment, right? Of those particular things. And praise God for technology, because if not, I wouldn't really have any type of accountability, right? Doesn't mean I don't have people to lean on as far as that, but because of the person that I looked up to who just left, right?
Bounce.
And just like, oh, like, hello, what about me, right? Now it's more of a, what can I do on my own? Even shout out to my mom, she got me this like calendar, right? On some like, let's do a Spanish word every day, right? And I was rocking with it for a little bit, but then I was like, I don't know. I think I'm just scoring with it. I'm like, okay, we got to find a different way of some way. She's like, yo, bring the calendar. Right. And because I just was like, like there has to be a better way that I can learn this Spanish easier. Right. So,
Right.
shout out to mom. Hi, mom. She's going to be like, I never knew. This is why you stopped the calendar. But no, forget it. Don't bring the calendar. And I was like, I'm bringing the calendar. Right. Because it was, but to be honest, like I have to control what I do more than lean on somebody and then blame them for why this didn't happen like I did, right? So
Right.
I have certain like I'm big on now like meditating. I'm big on now still reading every single day. You know, now because I have the great Oculus, now working out isn't such a problem anymore, right? So, you know, but there's a notification with that. So it's like the accountability is more on me than necessarily having a group. But because I do understand that not everybody is like me and who can do that, and I pride that because of like my only child and it's just me this whole time. But because other people may need that accountability, just because I don't personally need a person to do that, I am that for other people because that wasn't available for me. Right?
That's huge.
So
That's huge.
What I was missing before is now going to be more into my community with Deeper Than the Brand. Now it's more going to be with the team and things like that. I'm going to be what I was missing because not everybody could lean on technology and want to be so overpowered by their phone. I'm just this way. I am completely addicted to my phone, and now I have just used it to my advantage instead of looking like a whole crackhead. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it. I love it. No, and
What about you?
Since
You like don't like accountability, but you kind of do. It's weird.
Yeah. No, so I mean, my thing is, you know, I see it a little bit differently, right? Like when we all heard you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right?
Yep.
So if you're getting if you're both at a level 3 and you're leaning on the level 3 to help you get to a 10, it's not possible. You get me?
Right.
Like I think we sometimes, and these are some of the common mistakes that are just not talked about. So you want to get an accountability partner that's equally as bad at the thing that you're trying to improve. Think about that for a second. Is that really gonna? No. You get what I'm saying? Like our accountability partners should not be people that are struggling with the same thing that we're struggling to fix, because we're both equally or average at it. So like we can't possibly surpass that. So I'm a fan of coaching. I love coaching because coaching typically means that even if you haven't achieved the highest level of this particular thing that we're talking about, you probably at least have more experience, knowledge, or information and how to that you can be able to lend me so that I can enhance or speed up my learning curve.
Yeah.
Right. So my accountability, my preferred method of it is not so much like, okay, yo, but we're both struggling at this. Let's hold each other accountable to elevate our game in it. No, it's like, can I find someone who's better than me at the thing that I want to improve on? And so I'm now leaning on you to push me and show me a higher standard for how it's supposed to be done. So just to give you something non-business related, my spiritual area is always something that I'm constantly looking to improve on and grow. So I've been fasting since I was 7 years old. So I always joke around and I say, yo, during the month of Ramadan, you could look at me in the area of fasting as someone who holds a PhD. I've been fasting for over 20 years. Like, I got the experience. I've done it in different seasons. I've done it in the fall, in the summer, in the winter. I've done it in every season. Now, the areas that I'm a little weak in is understanding some of the like true traditional methods of practicing during the fast. Like, it's not just, oh, you can't eat and drink water. There are other things that you do. There are other traditions. So for example, I found out about a new tradition this past year that the last week or so you spend at the mosque or at the place of worship overnight. I was like, yo, I never knew that before, right? So, but how did I know? I got with some friends who grew up in Egypt and they were accustomed to that type of practice. So yes, it came off as accountability. We were like checking in on each other. One of us was driving the group to the place, but I found out about it from people who had more experience than me. So that just the first piece I'll say on it is, if you are going to get with others for a sake of accountability, don't get with others who struggle with the same area that you're trying to fix, because chances are it's going to be a fall off similar to that 6-month drop off. But if you get with someone who this is like, they're up and with it, and you're like, hey, can we do some form of exchange? Can I help you in something? And then we can work together on it. That's the way that I find it to be a better mix, as opposed to just getting with somebody and doing that. Let's talk about the crutch though, because and I think that's the part that kind of got people a little irritated too. It's like, yo, you're not curing your bad habits. You're just throwing your dead weight onto somebody because you're using the poke to keep you going, as opposed to you actually finding out habits or routines or just ways to literally improve some of the things that you naturally struggle with. If you're not a morning person, maybe you stay up later at night. Like, I'd rather that type of adjustment as opposed to you just waking up in the morning because someone's knocking on your door, but the minute that person disappears, that habit goes out the window with it. So let's talk about the crutch a little bit. Like, what's your stance on that in terms of people not necessarily realizing that they're not fixing the problem? They got somebody else carrying the weight. Or maybe I'm seeing it wrong. Maybe it's like, nah, in the beginning, when you're trying to do something new, you actually need someone to carry your dead weight a little bit so that you can get off the ground, and then eventually they hand it back to you. So like, what's your take on that? Because I think that is a part of it too that isn't talked about much.
So I don't know, like, so let's think about this real quick. Like, when you so-called go into an accountability group, right? Or you have accountability partner, like the momentum is there, right? So you're like, all right, we're both going to do this, or as a group, we're all going to do this, right? Eventually, your old habits will peak in, and it goes towards the one who has the most discipline to kind of carry that weight. Like, nah, hello, let's go. You're like, we could skip a day. You know what I mean? We could. Can we it's come okay. Back tomorrow? Right, we can do this tomorrow. No. Do it now, right? And eventually, like, one may fall off, or it'll take a whole lot of energy for the disciplined one to be like, boom, come on. And then they finally get everybody in, on the same path. Now, that's a lot of responsibility for the disciplined one. Because I don't know if they wanted to play that role, because then that instantly makes them into the coach and into a leader where they also needed accountability. So I'm not necessarily sure if that person, or if you are that person, are growing anything more. So I find that part of the whole accountability a little tricky, right? But it's always about perspective. It's always about how you kind of look at it. The fact that there is a group of people who are trying to figure this out and you're not doing it alone is a plus, right? That you're looking at this particular problem, whether it is how do we make six figures in a year? How do we make six figures in a month? How do we lose weight? How do we get our prayer life together? There's different people that look at it in different perspectives of how to solve this problem that maybe indirectly you're learning from, right? You're like, you're hearing it and you're like, maybe not, you're like kind of hesitant on it, but down the line you try it. So that's the plus about it, but it is a pros and cons to accountability. And for me, I have to say, I'm not a fan of that particular part of it where it's like the discipline has to really kick in with one or two people while that other person or the others are just like, life happens. Yeah. Because life is always going to happen, right? And so maybe it is about really evaluating those people. But sometimes, let's say, even with your closest friends, it's a great idea. Let's go. Let's if our job is to make six figures in 3 months, let's do that. Like, let's talk it out every single day, whoop-de-woo. And then what if the strongest one gets out of it?
Come on.
Like, we've been in situations where it's like, yo, we're going to be on the phone every single day. No matter the day, we're going to be on the phone. We're going to be on the phone every day. Yes, we are. Except for maybe on a Sunday. And then, except for this day, all right, let's reevaluate. Are we here every week? Are we here? Like, what are we doing? Nah, and then it dies out, and then it comes back, and then dies out. I think at the end of it, if you haven't really mastered consistency, don't really jump into these accountability groups thinking that they're going to give you consistency. Like, you have to look at maybe even the smaller things in your life, and are you consistent in that? Because when you go into a group or a partnership of accountability, right, both of you or the group has to be on the same wavelength of consistency and the importance and the priority of this particular goal. If not, it's like, well, let the strongest survive. That's not an accountability group.
Yeah. No, I think, and what's funny is that for some people, especially those who are like on the beginning of their journey and maybe even deeper into their journey, I don't know. But I found for those in the beginning, the best form of accountability is public accountability. Like if instead of just looking for one person in private, to make you feel good, to push you, to be there for you the whole nine, I dare you to wake up tomorrow and just share your to-do list on your social media. Just be like, hey y'all, here's what I'm gonna do today.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, post it again with if you did it or not. Like, there's something about us, especially in the beginning of our, I think, personal development journeys. Let's just address it. And again, for us, even deeper into our journeys, we still care about what people think about us or how other people see us. So I've used that in a way to actually like push me a little bit, right? Like when I first, again, just going back to the spiritual and the gym part, because that was the areas that I found to be the two characteristics that I needed to be at my best. If you remember back in the day, my low tally board.
I remember that.
You feel me? Like, yeah.
You made me want.
That was my.
Yo, real quick.
Go.
You made me want to go to like Office Depot. There's no plug for them, right? But like, I was like, I remember when he would like,
Tally
do I need to get that
day
for 2022? Like, do I need to go like, and just visually see certain things? Because I was like, I respect a lot of like what you do and how disciplined you are. And I was like, I'm pretty disciplined, but he's on a whole different level. Is it because of the whiteboard? Because I'll go get one. Like,
Right. Not, I mean, for me, it was just like wanting to pull on that heartstring
Yeah.
of like, okay, if it's that serious to you, make it public and use public accountability.
Yeah.
Like we all care about how others see us. Just present that to the people and be like, yo, here's what I'm doing. And then you got to face the music, because over time, if you continue to not carry out on the things that you said you were going to do, you're facing the music publicly, not just to one or two trusted people, you're doing it publicly, right? So again, am I saying that this is a long-term solution that works? No, that is something that I did for a year. Once I developed the muscle to know that it's more important that I actually do it than other people seeing me do it, then I took that routine elsewhere. So I think it's another form, that people can consider if you're thinking about it. So someone said, use peer pressure. It worked when we were kids. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yo,
yeah,
listen,
I guess you could say that.
listen,
Yeah.
peer pressure has, we got Carl to get the Oculus. Peer pressure can be a good thing. But shout out to T real quick. He asked a really good question. Like, how do you measure the quality of your accountability partner? I'd love to hear your take on that.
Yeah, Presidential T. I think when what helps with the scoring, like the tallying that I was doing for the specific thing that I was after, you're able to measure your progress over time. So if I start my check-ins with you, Nicky, and let's say I'm like, Nicky, I need you to hold me accountable to read 10 pages a day. Right now, I tried it on my own, and I'm only doing it maybe once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. I want to do it every day. And then I start this accountability system, either publicly or just between us. And after 90 days, that number goes down, then this accountability isn't working, because I was able to do it 3 out of 7 times a week. Now I'm doing it maybe once or twice. So it's like, okay, maybe this is not the right accountability for me or the right partner for me. But if my number increases, if I go from 3 times to 5 times to 6 times to 7 times, oh no, it's working, because you're actually seeing real life progress of what actually, of the thing that you were trying to correct. So I will say, if we can put data to it, it always helps. So like, I think it's funny, I was listening to something today around the house of Jim Rohn, and he was saying, when you're trying to teach kids about value, start with money, because it's something they can count. And I was like, yo, not for nothing, what if we made more areas of our lives, or figure out more ways to make or to count things in our lives that we're trying to, change, improve, make better? That can be a way for us to add value to it, because now we can actually count this. So sometimes it's not that things don't matter, we just haven't found a way to make it count, or we haven't found a way to count it. So yeah, I think adding some of those metrics to it is probably the easiest way, and it doesn't become a feelings thing. Oh man, you ain't called me, and I thought you were gonna call me, but it's like, no, it's just do it a numbers thing. You can blame the data instead of the person.
You know what I realized, the different types of accountability. Like, I don't like the accountability where the people are like, all right, hold me accountable, and then it's honestly me being the coach, right? Or vice versa. If I say, hey, go hold me accountable for this, and now you're like, yo, did you do this? Did you do that? Well, what are you doing? Like, why are you on me? Like,
Right.
you asked me to be on you, but why are you, like, what didn't you not do, right? Like, I don't like that type of accountability. I do like the accountability that we do together. Like, if I'm saying, okay, we're going to work out. All right, you work out. I worked out. Cool. Do you want to make this into a competition? Cool. Right? But if it's more of a, hey, yo, hold me accountable for this. Like, go check up on me. No. And don't check up on me. No.
Right.
Because then I'm just like, yo, what? This is the one-way street. This is not accountability. This is you telling me what to do. I don't know. But that's just me. I know what type of accountability I can rock with and what I can't, or what eventually fizzles down to like, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah. No, for sure, for sure. No, and I hope this is giving some people some perspective and some ideas on how to revisit accountability, man. Because again, I'm thinking these are the type of things that everyone just again generally says, but we don't talk about. But what does that actually mean? Like, how can I make it work? How do I make
Right.
sure that I'm applying accountability in the format or in the function that you use it so that I can get similar results? So just know that anytime the how is missing out of an equation, you're messing yourself up, or you're putting yourself up in a situation where you can possibly not apply it in the right way. So
Yeah,
again,
that's
not
so good.
saying for
Somebody said babysitting. That's so good. I didn't even think of that. Babysitting. It is true.
yeah,
It is true.
yeah,
You're a
yeah,
professional
that's
babysitter, people.
yeah, yeah. So again, I'm not for those of you who've used accountability to your benefit. I'm not saying stop it, but I'm just saying just measure against some of these areas. I want to challenge you. Like I would love it for us as a community and as a world to start hearing people with different viewpoints and not be offended by it, even if we
Mm,
are of that other stand, that's that other side, and just be like, I wonder if I can actually like upgrade my ways based on what this person's saying. Like maybe they're offering some perspective that doesn't necessarily negate what I'm doing, but it challenges the ways in which I can improve it. So like we can both coexist with two different viewpoints, but make each other better because I represent some pros and cons of something, you represent some pros and cons, and we're using that to level up. So yeah, I hope just for those who are listening either live or on the replay that you found some ways to redo it, or at least just revisit what you're currently doing to upgrade how you operate.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So, going from a flight assessment standpoint, right? Because pilots may not be so receiving of different people's perspectives unless it is
Yeah.
proven that you are dope at that. Like, let's say, okay, let's say we both are saying, all right, let's say Moose was chubby, because Moose isn't chubby. He's like a Muslim Hulk. But let's say he was chubby, right? And he's like, Nicky, we're not gonna eat Texas Roadhouse bread no more, right? We're gonna lose a little bit of weight. I said, okay, right? But we're both chubby, and then he tells me what to do. I'm not, sir. You're chubby as well.
Right. Right.
Now you're telling me how to be unchubby? Like, it's not even a suggestion. Yo, go do this. Like, no, I'm not listening to
Yeah.
you. Now, if you are telling me in an area that you are really dope at, right? Like how the whiteboard situation, I'm more receptive to listen to that instead of the particular subject that you may be struggling in. And that's where I find like an obstacle where I'm looking at people like, why are you talking? We're in the same boat. Like, but it's like I'm working on trying to open my mind to it because maybe you just wasn't given the chance to particularly shine in that particular topic. And now here's your chance. But it's hard for me as being the pilot. So I was talking about myself as being the pilot of, hey, yo, we both suck at Spanish. Why are you telling me this is a certain kind of way that's going to work? If it's going to work, why hasn't it worked for you? Until it works for you, don't come for me. Don't come for my Spanglish self. Okay? Don't do that. It's a question. It's like, how do you do that?
Yeah. Nah, it's super fair. I'll tell you what. If just from a flight assessment standpoint, it's not just for pilots. I think it exists for everybody. We see it more if we're just talking technical talk real quick. We see it more in both pilots and air traffic control because they need to know that the person leading them is a proven expert.
Yeah.
Now, if you just kind of like swimming in the ocean and you're kind of trying to feel your way around, if you don't say that so that we have the power to decide, like, hey, y'all, look, I'm going to be honest. I want to do this. I have a good feeling about it. I have an idea of how it's going to go, but I haven't done it before, so I'm not exactly sure. Now, what I've done is I've given you the opportunity, Nicks, to decide, like, yo, you in or you out.
Right.
But don't lead me as if you're an expert, but you really don't know when you're trying to figure it out, because that's not fair. Now, and that's kind of where I brought up the concept of manipulation and saying, I don't appreciate that because you could blindside me into your optimism to say, yes, we could do this. Yes, we could do this. Yes, I'm going to be there. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Yes, we're going to go there. And then it catches us off guard where it's like, yo, that wasn't even possible. And had it been said from the beginning that it's like, look, this is all I can commit to, or this is all that I can take you to. The rest you're gonna figure out on your own. That's cool. Like, we're adults, we can figure that out. But I think the manipulation is if I halfway tell you, or if I halfway lead you, so that hurts. Now, I will say there is one circumstance where it provides like, okay, I'll give you a pass. And especially because you said like, as it relates to weight.
Yeah.
In some areas where genetically you could have the knowledge base and even the experience in helping people achieve similar results or set results. But there are things, whether it again be genetics, maybe even your own personality or person, that doesn't enjoy being it. So like, let's say for example, hypothetically speaking, you're not this person, but let's say for example, you were like, yo, you didn't enjoy social media. Like, you actually didn't like being on camera.
Yeah.
But you're offering branding and advice on how to grow people's social media. So then I would be like, hold up, but you ain't do that. But then you have the result of, no, but I took somebody from 300 to 2.1 million. So it's like, okay, fair.
That's fine.
So in those,
that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. So in those scenarios, absolutely. If you've mastered something, but you've removed yourself out of the equation because that's not necessarily a part of the process that you enjoy, that's cool.
But to go to that, right? Oh. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I died like you. But to go into that, that was one of the main reasons why I boosted my social media the way I did. Because though I was having results, when I was training, you look at my results and it's like
Straight up.
what are you talking about? Right?
Yeah.
Like, do it for yourself. So,
Yeah.
and then I was looking at, and same, God, I'm dying. Same similar kind of situation, right? Where it's like those people who say, yo, I could verify you, right? Everybody's gotten those DMs. I could verify you. I could get you this amount of followers. Yo, you're not verified, and you have about 2,000 followers. Right? Like, what are we here talking about? Why are you talking to, like, it's so weird. So I understand what you're saying, because I was in that situation where in the beginning phases, yo, this is what to do with the social media, woo, woo, woo. And, well, look at E, right?
Right.
And everybody was like, okay, I can see what you're talking about. But then I actually had to practice what I was preaching. So that hit.
Yeah,
I see what you did there.
And I'm in all transparency, I'm right there with you. I'm right now investing thousands of dollars to kind of go through a rebrand, and really not even so much a rebrand, but just really highlight the work, because I've kind of started to see the same thing. I said, man, I'm not someone who necessarily cares for public recognition or cares to tell you what I've accomplished. Yeah. But if I am going to be on a public platform or sharing knowledge and information publicly, then it almost becomes my obligation to show the proof that I've done for myself. So I did it my way, in the sense of like, I kind of don't care for it. But then I started to see that it was going to ruin the experience for the person on the receiving end, because you're getting the information and you might not know the details of the Fortune 100 and the Fortune 500 and all the professional teams and all the private clients and small businesses and this. And so you might be like, oh, but who are you to tell me how to do that? So I don't want to have to go down there and go through. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Fair enough. I'll take ownership. That's where I've let it slip, because I wanted to protect a part of me that enjoys like the privacy boy. I don't know what's up with our voices today.
Yeah, we're dying. We're dying slowly but surely.
Right.
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, that's a part of me that I enjoy. I want to keep things private. But on the flip side of it, if I'm going to continue down this route, I got to start making some of this stuff public, whether I like it or not. So no emotions. That's the adjustment. I know we got just 10 minutes left. Let's talk about the community part about it from a business standpoint. And let's just give cues to the people around, like do's and don'ts in the community. Because I think communities are phenomenal. It's a great opportunity for you to enter and network with people, possibly collaborate and build to ways that you couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
But there are also some unwritten rules. We used to call them unwritten rules in baseball. Like you ain't necessarily going to see them in a book or somewhere, but there are things that you just shouldn't do because it's a violation of what it might be IP. It might be respect to other community members. It might be respect to the people who are even building and establishing that community that, they just shouldn't be done in short. So let's talk about some of those do's and don'ts. The example I said in the beginning was when someone tried to create a tour around one of our ideas. So it's one of those things like, yo, I see the effort. I don't know if you remember that. I see the
No.
effort. Yeah.
Break
So
it down a
someone
little
in the
bit.
someone in the beginning when we were building Extreme Execution, they took the name and they bought the URL like Extreme Execution Tour.
Yeah. Okay. I got it.
Somebody else, and this is just real life experience. I hope this doesn't offend anybody, but it's the truth. Somebody else
if it
like
does,
misspelled.
Stop. Like if it does, it is about you. You know what I mean?
It's about you. Straight up. Somebody else took the name of the product and misspelled it on purpose and bought that URL so that anybody going to the site would reroute to their stuff. And I was like, yo, that's just stuff that you don't do I didn't even think I had to say that as
Right.
far as what are some of the marketing guidelines, but it did give us experience around how clear cut you got to be when building a community. Because I think sometimes people just think like, oh yeah, I just got this really cool idea. We're going to bring people together and we're going to love each other. But there are some do's and don'ts. So just talk about, some of those ideas or insights from your end. And we'll close off at that.
So to go on to that a little bit, you have to understand the difference of communities, right? So for that particular situation, not to go too much in detail because Moose may get mad at me. For Extreme Execution, we're bringing in coaches who are trying to scale their business and get more clients, right? So in that type of community, you have to put certain guidelines because they're going to think everything is free game because the goal is to get more clients and to scale your business. And if you are bringing us together, you're allowing us to use certain branding materials. I'm thinking everything is free game. So with a community as such as that, as you trying to grow other people's anything, there has to be some clear cut, guidelines in your community. Now, I think community is amazing. Bringing people together to just tackle certain problems and looking at different perspectives with no real motive but for everybody to get better. I think that's amazing, right? Now, like I said, if there's no certain guidelines, certain people could abuse that. But from a positive standpoint, it is like it makes you feel accepted. Like your community that you are building should make people feel accepted and they are a certain kind of status that they can't get anywhere else in the world, right? So if you are building a community of beginner entrepreneurs that just have the idea and doesn't have the LLC yet and doesn't have all the legal stuff, right? Now you don't feel so alone in a world that, has only championed entrepreneurs that have it all together, right? So now community and accountability sometimes go hand in hand because once you bring people together, they're going to want to do it together, right? And they're going to be like, you want to do this? Okay, let's hold each other accountable, right? Even for my community, we're doing a recap 2021, right? So we're all together going to be posting some of our old content that we've done throughout the year and just labeling it recap of 2021 instead of coming up with new things. Now, as a community, everybody's hype. As a community, the momentum's there, right? And that's when you have a kind of like a live community. And it's important to build that kind of environment and that kind of energy, because if you just think that you're going to bring people together and that is it and they run it all, you're highly mistaken. You have to have a community that is structured out. What are your And shout out to my I2M people. What are your monthly themes? What are your weekly themes? What is your daily actions, right? In order to make sure that, everybody's on the same page and everybody's doing it together. Where maybe sometimes in an accountability group or a partner, there's not necessarily that structure, right? In a thriving community, in a one that's going to work, right? There has to be an environment and a structure like no other. And once you've created that for your brand and for your business, this is the community that's going to get you to whole new levels, whether it's from a revenue standpoint or whether it's from a status standpoint, from whether it's followers or, or just notoriety in your industry. So like, I'm big on community. I'm super huge on community. And it is the best thing and the needed thing for every single brand and business.
I love that. That was a whole mini masterclass right there, y'all. You got an entire mini masterclass. Nah, for sure, for sure. I love, yeah, I love community. Of course, for the people part of it, any only child, you got to be in at least two of them. I think that was one of my greatest benefits when I first got involved with Game Changers 4 or 5 years ago. That was a big boost for me and be able to build my network and get my people skills up there. So there are some soft skills that I think we can learn and gain through just through communities. As a matter of fact, I have been craving to write. So I was thinking about, I was like, maybe one of the ways I can do that is just by joining a writing community. I was like, heck, let me just look into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was one of my thoughts. Yes. Like, let me just, because I know the benefits of being able to work that as a form of accountability, but getting exposed to a new standard and a new way of living, because that's what that community is about. So for a user, I highly suggest it for things that you're trying to, implement. Again, it's a form of accountability that most people don't necessarily think about, but it's a good way to get exposure to a lot of different ways of how people do it, without necessarily being stuck to one way. And then for people who are builders, those who are actually establishing communities or thinking about it, one of the main benefits I think is to also be able to streamline your knowledge rather than sharing the same piece of information possibly 10 or 15 different times. You can share it one time and get it to 15 people, right? So I think there's like just a lot more growth that can happen for a select group, again, instead of having to break out your work into many different areas. So yeah, I love that area from both a business and personal use when it comes to overall growth.
I love it. I love it. And look, we right on time. Look at that. Look at that.
That's it.
Before anybody goes, I need a favor from you guys. So as y'all may have saw on the YouTube channel, on the Facebook page, we kind of gave our little tribute to Virgil Abloh. Rest in peace. He passed away in a privately battling cancer, which that's just a whole topic within itself of like, we just don't know what we don't know from these people. Right. But I didn't tell this to Moose, but I think he'll be okay with this, because we already a long time ago said that we wanted to do a episode of Virgil, both from a branding side and a business side. And I think our next episode should be that, in due to tribute for that. For our listeners and for our viewers, would love for you guys to send us your favorite quotes, right? Favorite articles, favorite videos that you've seen of Virgil that you're like, this would be really dope to go over. One of the things, and shout out to Kat, I don't know if she's going to watch this or not, but Kat was like, the giving up the major percentage of his company, he's like, was this because of him battling cancer? You see what I'm saying? Like, was it because of that? Because he knew this was going to happen. So, if you guys come across anything that you see, whether you want to research it or that you already have, like DM us, email me at Nicky@deeperthanthebrand.com, because this next episode is going to be about it. because that was something we were going to do anyways. And I'm kind of mad we didn't do it when he was alive, but we sure will celebrate him in his life. You know what I mean? But we're out. There is a video coming up next. You are going to be redirected, so stay right here, right? We're talking about spending $3 million off of one video. It's crazy. You got to watch it. We're out. It's about to start right now. We love you guys. Moose, thank you for this amazing conversation. People, stay right there. You know what we're going to say. Holla.